Welcome to English Grammar 2, Unit 54. Verbs followed by 2 plus the base form. Verb plus 2 plus base form. For example, we have decide to and forget to, etc. We have already taken in Unit 53, that there are verbs which are followed by verb plus ing, and other verbs followed by 2 plus the base form, and there are also other verbs which are followed by the base form only. Here today we are going to study verbs which are followed by 2 plus the base form, means verbs followed by infinitive. Here we have in part A, we have a table of verbs which are followed by 2 plus the base form, or what is called infinitive. We have the verbs here: offer, decide, hope, deserve, promise, agree, plan, manage, afford, threaten, refuse, arrange, fail, forget, and learn. Whenever we use these verbs in sentences, we are supposed to follow them by 2 plus the base form. After these verbs, you can use 2 plus the base form, what is called infinitive. For example, it was late, so we decided to take a taxi home. Here we have the verb decided in the past, but what comes after the verb decided? We have 2 plus the base form. We have 2 plus take, which is called infinitive here. So after verbs here like decided, though it is in the past, still we use 2 plus the base form after it. Example number 2. Simon was in a difficult situation, so I agreed to help him. We have the verb agreed still in the past, and what comes after the verb agreed? 2 plus the base form. We have 2 plus help. Example number 3. How old were you when you learned to drive? This is a question. We have the verb here learned, and learned is in the past, and it is followed by 2 plus the base form, means infinitive. The last example here: I waved to Karen but failed to attract her attention. Here we have the verb failed in the past, and it is followed by 2 plus the base form, to attract. We have other verbs in the table like plan. My family plan to travel to America. We have to travel after plan. Another example: he managed to pass the problem, or he managed to overcome the problem. Here we have 2 plus the base form after managed. Another example also, we can say I forgot to close the door. I forgot to close the door. We have here the verb forgot, and it is followed by 2 plus the base form. Whenever we think of making the negative of the infinitive, we put not before to, so it becomes not to plus the base form. For example, we decided not to go out because of the weather. Here we have the verb decided, and to make the negative of the infinitive, we put not before to, so it becomes not to plus the base form. So the sentence becomes this way: we decided not to go out because of the weather. Example number 2, I promised not to be late. And here we have not before to and the base form be after to. After some verbs, to is not possible, and here we think of the previous unit, unit 53. For example, verbs like enjoy, think, and suggest are followed by verb plus ing. This is somewhat a review of the unit 53. For example, here I enjoy reading. The verb enjoy is followed by verb plus ing. We don't say I enjoy to read. We say I enjoy reading. We put verb plus ing after the verb enjoy. Example number 2, Tom suggested going to the cinema. After the verb suggested, we have verb plus ing, going. We don't say Tom suggested to go. It is incorrect. Are you thinking of buying a car? Here it is a question, and are you thinking of? We have here thinking of, and we have preposition of, and of is followed by verb plus ing, buying. We don't say are you thinking to buy. Part B, we also use to after some other verbs like seem, appear, tend, pretend, and claim. For example, they seem to have plenty of money. Here we have the verb seem. It is followed by to plus the base form to plus have. Another example, I like Dan, but I think he tends to talk to me. Here the verb tends followed by to plus the base form to talk. Anne pretended not to see me. Here we have the verb pretended, and it is followed by negative infinitive. We have not plus to plus the base form see. When she passed me in the street. There is also a continuous infinitive, and here in this case of continuous infinitive, we must think of two things. Infinitive starts with to, then comes the continuous. If we say, for example, present continuous, then it is found of verb to be, am, is, are, plus verb plus ing. And what comes after to is the base form. What is the base form of am, is, are? It is be. So we change am, is, are into be. So it becomes to be plus verb plus ing. And here we call it continuous infinitive. For example, here I pretended to be reading the newspaper. If we remove pretended to, the original sentence is I am reading the newspaper. And if we want to put before I am, we want to put or to add the verb pretended to. So it becomes I pretended to, and am is changed into its base form be, and it becomes I pretended to be reading the newspaper. And here it is called infinitive continuous. I pretended that I was reading. It means I pretended that I was reading the newspaper. Example number 2, you seem to have lost weight. And here we have perfect infinitive. And if we think of infinitive, we think of to plus the base form. And if we think of perfect simple, we think of have or has plus the past participle. And if we put have or has after to, then we need to change them into the base form have. So it becomes to have plus past participle. You seem to have lost weight. Here we have the verb seem and it is followed by to, and the perfect here the base form have plus past participle. So we call it here perfect infinitive. It seems that you have lost weight. This is the meaning. Martin seems to be enjoying his new job. Here we can say the original sentence. Martin is enjoying his new job. Martin is enjoying his new job. And if we want to add seems to before is, so it becomes Martin seems to, and the base form of is becomes be, so it becomes Martin seems to be enjoying his new job. And it means it seems that he is enjoying it. Part C. After the word there, you can use the infinitive with or without to. We can use infinitive either with to or without to. I wouldn't dare to tell him. Here the verb dare is followed by to plus the base form. Or I wouldn't dare tell him. Here the verb dare is followed by base form only without to. So after the verb dare, we can use either infinitive with to, or without to, or the base form only. But after dare not or daren't, when it is negative, you must use the infinitive without to. We must use the infinitive without to. I daren't tell. Here we use base form only, infinitive without to. I daren't tell him what happened. We don't say I daren't to tell. We don't use to after daren't. After daren't or dare not, we use base form without to. Remember this. In part D, after some verbs, you can use a question word. For example, like what, whether, and how, etc. And after the question words, we can use to plus the base form. We use this structure especially after verbs like ask, decide, know, remember, forget, explain, learn, understand, and wonder. We have here some examples. We asked how to go to the station. Here the verb asked is followed by the question word how, and the question word how is followed by to plus the base form. Have you decided where to go for your holiday? And here the verb decided is followed by where, a question word, and the question word is followed by to plus the base form. I don't know whether to apply for the job or not. After the verb know, we have question word whether plus to plus the base form. Do you understand what to do? After the verb understand, we use question word what and after the question word what, we use to plus the base form. So we can say other examples like I remembered how to answer the question. Or another example, I remembered how or I learned how to drive the car. I learned how to drive the car. Here we use how question word and plus to plus the base form. Also we have other words, other verbs, for example, show, tell, ask, advise, and teach somebody what or how and where to do something. Here we have after the verb we have object, and after the object we have the question word what, how, and where, any question word plus to plus the base form. Can somebody show me? Here we have the verb show, it is followed by object me, and then comes the question word how plus to plus the verb plus to plus change the verb. So the sentence becomes like this, or the question becomes like this: can somebody show me how to change the film in this camera? Another example, ask Jack, he will tell you what to do. Here the verb tell is followed by object you and then WH question word, then to plus the base form. So we have here a group of verbs followed by question word directly, then infinitive, to plus the base form. And some other verbs followed by object, then question word, then to plus the base form. That's all. Thank you.